Hello and welcome to episode 127 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers, by scale modelers, all about scale models. And this episode is being brought to you through our latest Patreon supporter, Jared Nuss. Jared has decided to help support the show, and we greatly appreciate both him and all of our other fantastic supporters. You too can help support the show by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 per month upwards. All contributions are greatly appreciated and just help us with the production costs for the show. Established in 2016, the Scale Modeler Supply has developed a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints designed specifically with the scale modeler in mind. Certified Australian made, SMS paints are tough and durable with a fast drying time that have been designed to use straight from the bottle, taking all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake and spray. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, cars, train, science fiction or gunpla. SMS premium acrylic lacquer paints will have a colour to suit you. SMS products are available through a trusted network of stores across Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, the US, and are also now available for the first time in the UK, Froome Model Centre. Check the SMS website at www.scalemodeler.com.au to find your closest stockist. These paints are on my bench and I use them all the time, so I know that you will not be disappointed. And hello and welcome to the show, and in the studio I have with me Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day listeners.
And of course I've got Julian as well.
Yep. Yeah, you do. I'm here.
In body, but not spirit.
Oh, I'm here. That's all right. Yeah.
How are we, gents?
Yeah, good.
What's
Very
been
good.
happening since last fortnight?
A lot, which we'll discuss later.
Oh yes, because today we're going to be talking about benches. But we're going to
Because
be
we are
talking about
benches.
that. We're going to be talking about that later on. Any new purchases?
Yes, which
Yeah.
I'll talk about later.
Oh, okay. All right. Julian, any new purchases?
I don't think so. I mean, apart from coffee, I bought a lot of coffee.
Well, coffee's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, on this show at least, it's our what's that modeling lubricant?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, considering it's too early to drink.
Yeah.
It's way too early to drink. You know what? I'm hats off to Mike and Dave, because that's just a really good shtick. Having,
it is,
you
yeah.
know, different sort of modelling fluid that you talk about each episode.
Yep.
And all
totally
we've
agree.
got the choice of is orange juice or coffee.
Yeah,
Yes.
or water.
But well, you know, I'm happy with that choice. You know.
That's true.
Very true.
Yeah. So the coffee that I bought is from the Veterans Coffee, AussieVeteransCoffee.com, and I am not getting paid by this whatsoever. They a customer that are local to me, and they gave me a sample of their stuff for free. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll give it a go. Yeah. And they sent me down this coffee rabbit hole, and so I thought, well, they've got. I wanted to try like a whole bunch of different coffee blends, and they had a sampler thing in their range, so I decided to purchase it.
Uber cool.
Yeah, and like each of these is like 200 grams worth, because I'm not very good. It takes me a while of drinking something before I can actually sort of get an idea of whether I like it or not.
Yep.
So I opted for the 200 gram instead of just the regular 100 gram samplers.
Yep.
And so the 100 gram samplers, you get like 9 of them, and that costs you like $50 or something. And this was the $100 because you got double the amount, right?
But this company's all run by veterans, isn't it?
That's right.
Yep.
Yep, legitimate Australian veterans, yeah.
Uber cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really, personally speaking, I'm not really the kind of person who is, you know, oh, that's something that supports the troops or something like that. I'll jump on that. I just go about if it's something I like, I'll like it, and if I can support veterans for free, well, I'm going to drink coffee anyway. You know. Yeah. I'm happy to kill two birds with one stone, but otherwise, I'm not going out of my way.
Yeah, very good. Well, I haven't been buying anything. I've been away the last 2 weeks on different training courses up at Mount Macedon, which is a beautiful part of Victoria.
It is, yes.
I got chased by a kangaroo.
Eastern grey or a big red?
I don't know. When a kangaroo's chasing you, you don't sort of stop to sort of have a look whether it's what type it is.
Was it as big as you or a lot smaller?
Probably came out to me shoulder height.
Oh, yeah.
So the story is they're at this training place up in Mount Macedon. There's a golf course in the side of a chain link fence.
Yep.
And at night time, there's a whole mob that comes in and just sits there and lays on the grass and eats all the greens and everything.
Yep.
And there were...
Yes, we should point out that a mob of kangaroos is the name for a multiple. Yeah, like a herd of them, yeah.
And there were these 3 kangaroos that were, for some reason, on the wrong side of the fence, which was the same side as where we were located.
Yep.
So there was a gate further down, and I was there with my mate, and we might have had a beer or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, I'll go and open it. He says, you go open the gates. I said, all right. So, and he says, I'll herd them. So I went down towards the gate, and as soon as I made a beeline for the gate, next minute I hear this, sort of pounding along behind me, and so I'm running quicker, and the pounding's getting quicker and quicker. So,
it's like a horror movie.
It was like a horror movie. And it was on dusk as well, so it was sort of semi-dark. And kangaroos can do a lot of damage to you if you get too close to them.
Oh, yeah.
So hence the reason I was slightly panicked.
That's why I got that really big, thick, prehensile tail that can balance on while they kick the crap out of you.
Yeah. So that was my fun for the fortnight. Yeah. Anyway.
Pity it wasn't filmed.
Yeah, I know.
Thank God it wasn't filmed.
No, it would have been great.
I'm not sure what would have been funnier, you trying to run or...
Yeah, running and Dave just don't kind of go together.
Yep.
So anyway. So that was my excitement for the fortnight, I guess.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And still haven't had any opportunity to get to the workbench or to the modelling bench, which is driving me nuts. Hopefully I've carved out some time this Sunday to actually sit down and do something on the Musaru Cup, because that is fast getting closer and closer and closer.
Well, considering how close you are.
Well, yeah, but I still got to put decals on it. I've got more weathering to do.
You got to spray some markings, because I cut your masks on the silhouette.
Yep. So, yeah, Julie made some masks from the silhouette cutter that we all purchased together as a group.
Yep.
So I've got to do that. What did I say? More weathering. And then I've still got to figure out what sort of pose I'm going to put it in. Then I've got to take it around to your place, Julie, and then get it photographed.
Yes.
So...
I can bring all my junk here. I can do that too.
Yeah, I could do that. All right. So we'll figure out something. I don't know.
That's
I don't know. I'm just... And the other thing too, because we're still recording on our sort of off Saturdays, so somehow we've got to get back onto our on Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we're still on the off week, and I'm particularly conscious that I'm not upsetting all the other podcasts.
Yep.
Although being the podfather, I think there's a little bit of leeway for me to sort of move around a bit. But I still don't want to...
All the more reason for the pressure to be on that you do the right thing.
Yes.
Exactly right. So I've got to try and figure out how the heck we're going to sort of get back onto our normal sort of week that we do.
Well, it's very obviously going to involve recording 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe
Which is doable.
Maybe you might have to record one next Saturday, and then one the Saturday after, which will be just in the week before Christmas.
Yep.
So it'll be 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Drop. Yep. All right. We'll have to do something like that.
Yes.
Can I find some guests to get on? Oh, well, I've got guests to get on. I've just got to organise them to come out. But this time of year is crazy for getting people out to
definitely
come on the show. And SMS Paints have actually released a new paint range.
Yeah,
the acrylic water-based paint. So I need to get Scott on, and so he can have a chat about that, which is really exciting. first reports are that the paints are actually fantastic from people who've been using them.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually spray with them, or you can brush with them. They brush really well. So need to have a chat about that as well at some point in the future.
Definitely. I'll be definitely looking at getting some.
Well, seeing Scott is our major sponsor.
Yes, that's true.
It behooves us to actually have him on the show.
Yes.
Yeah,
I do use a lot of those style of acrylic paints when I do my figure painting.
Yeah.
So I'll be definitely looking
Well,
at getting
it's the
home.
mainstay of all figure painting, generally
Yeah,
speaking.
yeah.
I mean, no one's...
And being able to get one from a local supplier is a lot better than waiting for the model companies or the suppliers here in Australia to get their stuff from overseas, which is getting very hard to get from what I hear.
Yeah. And,
Shipping at the moment is just crazy.
yes, it is. Yeah, but funnily enough, I mean, it's easier. People are getting their stuff quicker from interstate and from overseas than locally.
Yes.
Don't ask me how that is happening, but that seems
Well,
to
you
be
work
the
in the
case.
postal service, so
Yes,
how
I
does
do.
that work?
I don't know, because I'm too small a cog in this machine. I'm not one of the big cogs at the top.
So here's the thing. I ordered something from the States, and it got here, and on the same day, I ordered something from Bendigo, which is like an hour and a half drive.
Yep.
Was it Bendigo? It was actually from SMS Paints. I ordered some
Yep.
stuff. His took about 2.5 weeks to get here,
Yep.
which is a distance of about maybe 150 kilometres.
Yes.
And the stuff from the States got here before him.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy, isn't it?
I'm looking at Julian now with
I don't know, like
questioning eyes.
I
Julian's
don't
going, I got
know.
no idea.
It's all just
You
very
know-
crazy at the moment.
It's like there's a big black curtain, and like parcels go in and parcels come out, and no one knows what goes on behind the curtain.
Yes.
Really,
Except a lot of swearing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there are some people in management and people who are in the technical aspects of, and they see what goes on the on the electronic system and the inputs and the outputs and the throughputs, and maybe they know what's going on, but it's not me. Who knows what goes on?
Very true.
Anyway, we've got a heap of
Listener mail?
Yeah. So shall we dive into that and
Yes.
have a chat? First one comes from Chris Marsden. And Chris writes, "Hi guys, just listen to episode 125 and have a couple of comments. Why do manufacturers insist on their name on the box while taxpayer dollars/pounds do contribute greatly? The contracts always have an IPR residing with the design authority. Also, you were correct that BAE Systems are the direct ascendants for all UK manufacturers, so the old Avro, Supermarine, Hawker, etc. These companies still exist, albeit in name only, but as part of BAE Systems Group. Hence, Wingnut Wings must have... can't read that, gone off.
Going off the screen,
It's
Dave.
gone off the screen.
You scroll
Hanks Wingnut Wings must have secured the rights to the Lancaster design from BAE. I assume they did. The IPR for designs and the moulds remain with Wingnut Wings. Hope this helps. Ex-BAE Program Manager, Chris Marston. Thanks, Chris.
So why do they put the names on the boxes?
I don't know.
Because they can.
Yeah.
Is
Plus you can,
all it comes down to, I think.
yeah.
I think it's, we
Not everyone does it. For starters, Boeing does it. They, they like to have their little holographic little sticker that gets put on
Yes.
all the boxes.
That's right.
Why not too many other manufacturers do? Like Mitsubishi's probably still own the rights to the Zero, right?
Oh, more than likely.
And yet they don't do anything about it.
Yeah, well, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, they do everything from cars, aircraft, pianos, air conditioning units, you name it. They got their finger in so many different products. It's such a huge company.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
yet,
been around since hundreds of years, from what I know.
yeah, but I mean, like they're not insisting the
No.
Mitsubishi logo gets slapped on
That's right.
the new Edward Zero kit. I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, and also, you think the manufacturers, the kit manufacturers, would have to pay a bit of royalty to get that sticker put on too.
Yeah, I imagine some money changes hands, but only Boeing seems to care. I haven't seen anyone else do it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Look,
as far as the sticker goes. I mean, maybe he's changed his hands with other manufacturers and the model kits that are produced after their things, but I only ever see Boeing.
Yeah, and definitely agree.
While it's interesting and it's, very thought-provoking, I think it's perhaps the realm of intellectual property specialists and I don't know, maybe we can get Kentucky Dave one day to have a sort of chat about it or a bit of a spiel about it.
True.
Because him being a lawyer and everything, he'd have to know this sort of stuff.
Well, not necessarily.
Depending what sort of law he does.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's so many different disciplines.
Commercial lawyer, and you got like normal lawyers. And,
yeah, I know, but he's a smart guy. He's from Kentucky, so come on, he must know a bit about it.
Definitely.
All right, let's move on. Paul Pendleton Brown writes in, "G'day all, semi-regular contributor with a new name after marrying my long-term partner."
Oh, well done, Paul. Congratulations.
Paul. I reckon at least 2 attempts by Dave before he gets it right. Well, crash, boom, I got it right first time, Paul. Anyway, the latest episode raised a point about markings included for the upcoming 148 scale AMP Gazelle with the fictitious Australian markings as they never operated the type. That is correct, but the scheme included is also correct.
Okay.
If you look at the registration on the box art, XZ315P, it is in fact a UK Army Air Corps machine based in
Wallop,
sorry. What did I say? Middle Wop.
Yes.
Middle Whoop Whoop. Middle Wop. Middle Wallop.
That's right.
That had the ruse applied for a military competition and air show back in 1982, as the Australian military didn't want to send an airframe across to the UK, so they borrowed a UK Gazelle and the crews competed with that airframe instead. Which is really interesting.
That is
he
very
sent a
interesting.
link which will actually show the airframe in question. Hope that helps to put that one to bed. Keep up the good work, guys. Best wishes from Paul Pendleton Brown, recently married.
Yes.
Yay.
Well,
That explains it then.
it's good to solve the mystery.
It has. The mystery has now been fully solved.
However,
Oh, here we go.
what intrigues me about this is, so it was a competition, obviously, of some sort with helicopters between,
Armed forces.
yeah. You can't just send an Aussie helicopter crew across and chuck them in a Gazelle because you've got to be type rated for it. And what I mean by type rated, for those out there in the world will know what I'm talking about, you got a blank look on your face.
Well, I'm guessing it's to do with like certifications.
Yeah,
and things
exactly
like that.
right. You can't just. It's not like driving a car. You can't just sort of get out of one car and get another one and drive. With aircraft, you've actually got to go through and be approved and to actually fly the thing. You got to know all the systems and all the checklists because.
Well, I'll probably put through a course, I'd say.
Yeah, but this seems quite odd. It would have been. I would have thought it would have been cheaper just to chuck a. What was it, 82? So we would have still been flying the Hueys back then.
Well, how likely is it that they just sort of went,
They're Aussie guys.
Don't worry
yeah,
about
we'll
it.
just, we'll just have a go, mate. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, it depends on how long ago are we talking about?
1982.
Well, I mean, that's starting to get a little bit recent enough that someone might care, but I don't know. I don't know what these things are like, like period-wise.
Okay. Now, Gerald writes in. Gerald DeSalis, I want to say.
Yeah, it looks right. DeSalis.
I wanted to thank you, Ian and Julian, for the kind words regarding my V2 build. I'm not a master, but I try to learn something new with each build. Please feel free to post the photos onto our On The Bench Facebook page, which we will do, because I haven't done yet. And tag me if you can, because I would be very honoured. The discussion about stashes is very topical. I think we all have too many kits. No, that's not true, Gerald. One thing that I would like to suggest is getting kits into the hands of kids in order to keep our hobby growing. I'm a teacher by profession and have brought in my models to illustrate a point, as I'm a science teacher, and my students are always amazed. I don't think the kids today have the same level of access to modelling that we had. Reaching out to schools
either with kits or with completed models is a great way to grow the hobby and make room for our next purchases. Anyway, thanks again. Stay safe and keep up the good work. P.S. You nailed my name, by the way. As Julian correctly pointed out, it's not an easy thing to do.
There you go.
Yes. It's when you read out the part where it says getting kits into the hands of kids, the thought that popped into my mind is like, the shady guy who's selling watches out of the inside of his coat, that kind of, hey kid, you want a 1/72nd scale Mustang?
But no, that's a good idea. That's because I think back in our day, we were limited with hobbies compared to what kids have now. We didn't have the computer games and all that they did.
Yeah.
And kids today, they're more than happy to jump on an Xbox and whittle away a day just glued in front of the television screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas back in our day, well, you either rode a push bike or you had a mini bike, or you went, if you're lucky like me and you're living in a new estate getting built where you had jungle gyms because you had house frames everywhere, so you could climb up them and you do whatever but as a sit-down hobby, you were quite limited. So you basically started off with, most kids started off playing with Lego and then went on to building plastic model kits. Well, that's the way I did it anyway. Yeah. I think I built my first kit when I was about 7. And I don't think kids today realise what a fulfilling hobby modelling is. And it's a very fulfilling hobby. You're creating something. You're not just sitting in front of a screen, oh, look, I just beat my best score.
Well, it's really interesting because I didn't come across. It was when I was on course last week, we all had to do, you sit around and they say, tell us something about you that nobody else knows.
I hate that.
So I mentioned that I do podcasting,
but everybody knows that about you. You have a podcast.
Yeah, not at work they don't.
You keep it in your... You keep your secret.
No, I don't keep it secret. I just don't walk around with a neon sign saying, "Oh, I'm a podcaster." Well,
everyone at my work knows I do podcasting, and they're always, "Do you want a podcast this weekend, do you?"
Yeah. Okay.
Nah, next weekend.
Okay. Anyway.
All right. So everybody in my office knows it does it. I do it, but the organisation I work for is statewide, so there's a lot of people around the state don't know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
hence I was in the training last week, and you had to get up and say something that nobody else knew about you. So I said I do podcasting. And of course, the invariable question: what are your podcast about? So models. Yep. Anyway, so during the coffee break, one of the guys comes up to me and goes, "Oh, geez, I'm so excited about this." He said, "I never knew you did modelling. I've just started modelling again after, 'cause he went to Aldi and he bought one of those, car kit or something."
Yeah.
Oh, the AMT kits are selling. Yep.
Yeah, and he's just bought himself an airbrush and all this sort of stuff.
Very good.
The point I'm getting at is I think new people are coming into the hobby because he's not old.
Yeah.
He's mid-30s, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too, I think the feed-in for our hobby also is the thing like, Games Workshop and all that.
Warhammer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's another big feeder, as well as the Gundam stuff. That's another big feeder for the hobby.
But going back to you, I've got a bit of a funny story that actually happened this week. That we were just chatting with one of the air conditioning installers. I was dropping off some air conditioners for him, and he goes, "Oh, one of the apprentices the other day, we were talking about your podcasting, and I mentioned that you do a podcast on modelling, and the first thing out of the apprentice's mouth was, but he's not pretty enough to be a model."
So, a few things. The interests of kids these days, where they're like, oh, in the past they didn't have too much.
Well, back when Dave and I,
but these days it's a different kind of demographic. These days it's more a case of they would get into modelling because they want to represent their interests in a physical form.
Yes.
Like they're already playing video games, they're already reading about planes and tanks and things like that. And it's not enough. The equivalent of like how in the 90s people would put posters up on their walls.
Yes.
These days it's like, I'm going to buy some hoodie with merch, I'm going to get like coasters, I'm going to get custom keycaps, I'm going to I'll buy the special edition of this game and it'll come with a little figure that I can stick on top of my monitor.
Yes.
that kind of thing. People want to represent their interests because everyone's into so many different things these days. That
Well,
they
look,
want
at, look at what the computer games World of Tanks and World of Warships is doing.
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like,
Well, Italy now does World of Tanks kits.
Yep.
yeah, I mean,
But getting kids into the hobbies, it's a major thing we've got to start looking at, because once we're gone,
so
and there's no kids involved, well, then the industry will die.
you know, in recent weeks, I've become more aware of just how big the hobby is in Japan. It is ridiculous.
Scale modelling.
Scale modeling
Yeah.
is ridiculous in Japan.
Yeah.
Like old,
Which is weird because they
old guys in parks
they live in
building models in the park. You
Really?
know? Yeah, on a park bench. You know.
Yep.
I was watching a stream and like this streamer's mother was in the background building the 1/350 scale Yamato. You know, and she's a grandma kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, like another guy I was watching, he went into a place called Yotobashi Camera. It's like a camera, like imagine Ted's camera store or camera shop, but, you know, such a successful business that they've branched out to TVs and all kinds of anything electrical, basically. Mm-hmm. And they've got like a section, it's 9 floors, right? 9 floors, and like half of one floor is just model kits.
Oh my God.
It's called Yotobashi Camera.
Yeah.
It's essentially like grown out of like cameras. So there's like anything to do with cameras, like tripods.
Yep.
They got wall-to-wall lighting and all sorts of things. Half a floor models.
But what you were saying earlier is that how big it is in Japan is that, yes, I understand, but what gets me is where do they put all their finished kits? Because these people live in shoeboxes. I don't know. Housing's so I know I live in a very small unit myself, and I've got so much struggle just to try and find a spot for anything. But these guys live in basically one rooms, and that's it. They've got everything in one room.
Yeah, I don't know.
It astounds me.
I don't know where they go.
David Waples writes in, greeting gents. Another fun show. A couple of years ago, I recognised that I'll only be able to build a certain number of kits in the remainder of my lifetime, and I'm not a fast builder. So I made a commitment to myself that if I buy a new kit, I need to thin out what I have in my collection by roughly an equal dollar value. So far, it's worked out okay, and it's kept my storage area from spilling over and the bank account happy. But there are some kits coming up that are going to cause me some hard decisions to make.
I know how you feel.
So I appreciate you're struggling with the idea of letting go of certain kits in your collection. So far, I've sold exclusively on eBay, which has worked well. It requires some time invested, and I'm not quite recovering my investment, but I'm not giving them away either, which is an expectation of swap meets. I'm considering trying Facebook selling sites, but I haven't quite brought myself to do that just yet. Selling on eBay has worked out okay, and every time I tell my wife that I sold the kit, she rewards me with a yeah. Take care, you guys. Dave Waples.
It's interesting because what you're actually doing is you're condensing. Because, like, obviously, like, you're going to be replacing with generally newer kits, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, why would you have bought it?
Well, that's
you would have bought it in the past, right?
That's what I'm trying to do. Is I've got so many old kits, and like they're not bad kits, but compared to what's coming, especially compared to what's coming out by Edward and companies like that, and Great Wall Hobby, some of the kits I've got, they're going to be superseded. So I'm going to get rid of them and then replace them with the newer ones. But I still need to I made a list of what I was getting rid of.
Right.
I sold about 6 kits so far. Got rid of all my Messerschmitt 262s. Dragon and Trimasters, all gone in one hit. And Julian made a few suggestions of other kits I could get rid of. So, yeah.
I've made some suggestions, but you don't listen to me.
No, who does?
Well, to be honest, to be fair, I think Ian is more receptive to ideas when you're talking to them in his actual house. When he's outside of his house, he sort of goes, "Oh yeah,
yeah." And then I'll come home and go, I don't know. But if I'm there and I'm looking at it, then I actually do. It's true. I do make a more quicker decision when I'm actually physically looking at it.
A more quicker decision to sell, or a more quicker decision to not
just
sell?
In all kinds of things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the way my weird brain works.
I'm just coveting the
I think
floor
it's
stacker.
Never. I will not get rid. That's the one thing I do not want to get rid of anything from the Pacific campaign.
That is the most beautifully moulded kit I've ever seen.
Lovely kit,
Yeah.
yes.
Ugh.
And I'm definitely holding on to that
USS Ward? was
Yes.
it? Yeah.
It even comes with a little midget submarine.
All right, let's continue on with emails. Jeff Thompson writes in, "Hey fellas, just discovered you guys a couple of weeks ago and wanted to say what an awesome job you guys are doing on the podcast.
Thanks, Jeff.
I'm going through all the previous shows and look forward to the ones coming in the future. I've also discovered Model Geeks podcast in the US through your show and really enjoyed listening to those guys as well. Anyway, just wanted to drop a line and say well done and glad that I discovered the podcast. All the best, Jeff Thompson in Sydney." Thanks, Jeff.
And there's a lot of podcasts out there now to listen to.
Yeah, there are. So, Model Geeks podcast, obviously you know already. There's Scale Model podcast, Stuart up in UK. Sorry, in UK. Stuart's going to kill me. In Canada.
You got
Just Making Conversation with Malcolm and James.
Plastic Posse.
Plastic Posse podcast, as well as Plastic Model Mojo. And there's also the other one about the scale figure ones.
Sprue Cutters Union.
Sprue Cutters Union. I couldn't
Very
forget
good
those
one.
guys. Goodness me. And
there's a website that's got them all on there.
Small Subjects by Jim and Barry is another podcast that's devoted to, as it sounds, small figurines and doing figures and that. And of course,
there's enough out there that you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
it's enough out there to keep you busy for
Months.
Did you were going to mention another one?
I just did the small subjects.
Oh, okay. I thought there was more coming.
I'm pretty sure I got everybody.
Well, that's the problem. I can't remember all these podcasts.
I can, but I
get you did because you correspond with each of them a lot more than I do, and you sort of got to know them as each one came along. But I sort of wasn't paying attention as I normally am, and then suddenly realized, you know what? There's a lot of these other podcasts, and I haven't been paying attention, and now they're all just sort of like this big cluster, and I can't. And there's like names attached to them, and it's like a mess that just sort of grew out in my peripheral vision. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I can't be bothered trying to learn all this. It's too much.
Well, through Stuart up at Scale Model Podcast, Canada, what we've all done is, Stuart's actually organised it. There's a one-stop shop repository of all scale modelling podcasts, and it's called modelpodcast.com. You just go there and it's got the links for all the fantastic shows. So please do go and give them a listen, because we're all good mates and we're going really well together.
We do
so far.
And they've all got their own style and niche, and there's something for you.
Yeah,
absolutely, there is something for you. Let's have a look. Gordon Sorensen writes in, "Good day, Dave, Ian and Julian. Another interesting episode about Ian's stash, but one more option overlooked was donating it to worthwhile causes. In Canada, we have Operation Vet Build. In the UK, has Models for Heroes. Not sure if Australia has something similar. On that subject, there is some work being done in the background, but it's way too embryonic to sort of announce it yet.
Right.
But there is work going towards it at the moment, that's all I can say. Gordon continues, a question for Ian. I brought a 1/32nd scale kinetic F-86, which is one of my favourite aircraft, as my father flew it with the Royal Canadian Air Force in West Germany back in the 50s. And I got the Edward Big Ed set for it. Photo etch is not my friend, although styrene strip is a mate. I have never attempted it before. Can you recommend a PE bender that could do the job?
Display do a really nice photo etch bender.
And there's another photo etch bender called the Bug.
The Bug.
So Display or whatever they're called, because
Yeah,
no one knows how they're supposed to be pronounced.
DSPIE, I think is
IAE, I believe.
Is there.
Yeah,
and they do some really good high quality modelling tools. And I haven't used I don't have their photo etch bender because I honestly, Gordon, I can't remember the brand of the one I've got. It's quite large. It's probably about, I'd say.
Well, there's the small shop, and then there's One of the I can't remember the other ones, and they're all roughly the same, to be honest.
Yeah. It's,
And but don't overlook the photo etch pliers. You know, the bending tools that look like pliers, and
they're flat.
they can be a little less tedious to use.
I think they're quite good for doing small parts, but if you're doing like, for example,
Broad areas.
with a big head set, I gather you're going to be coming with landing flaps, so you need something with a long area. And a lot of these photo etch benders, they've got like little cutouts for the different shapes and sizes that you want to bend, and usually on the opposite side of that, you've got a big flat plate. So you just turn it around, undo the 2 screws, pop it around, and put your photo etch in there and give it a good bend. But yeah, I look, if you're not too fussed on spending a few extra dollars, I'd definitely probably go for the display one. It looks like a really high quality unit to me.
Yeah, I agree. And Gordon just wraps up by saying that he's planning to going to the US Nationals next year, so he hopes to see us there. And he says, thanks and have a great day. So that's from Gordon in St. Remy, Quebec, Canada.
Oh, lovely. Fantastic. Look forward to catching up with you, Gordon.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I've got a lot of people to catch up with. When we get
Oh,
over
so
there,
many.
That's right. Need to have a quick chat about this one. Our good friend Kevin Footer,
Good old Kev.
from KLP Publishing, has just announced they've got a new release that's coming up. It is it's a book on building the Wingnut Wings Albatross DVA in 30-second scale.
And what a great price too.
$15.
I'll be definitely putting that one on the list, Kevin.
$15.
It's a 197-page book.
$15 for that?
Yeah, I know.
That's amazing price.
Yep.
Well, I guess is what I'm doing.
There's almost no reason not to get it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you almost pay that for a modelling magazine these days.
Yeah.
So,
And I've got 2 of those kits in the stash.
I've got one of these kits in the stash.
So it's got a few thumbnails there for you to get an idea of what you're getting in this.
But that looks amazing.
It looks very comprehensive.
Yeah.
It shows all the products that he's used.
Damn you, Kevin! You're making me spend money again.
So it's a 197 197-page ebook, in which the modeller Karim Bibi builds the Wingnut Wings 132nd scale Albatross into his usual excellent standard, utilising a variety of aftermarket parts and decals, along with some scratch building to produce an award-winning model. Nice. Along with Karim's terrific build, we've also included artwork by Ronnie Barr, some historical notes by Greg Van
Windendarden.
There you go. That's a nice Dutch name for you.
Yep.
And more than 90 walk-around photos of the Mercedes D3 engine by James Fay. The version 1.1 update introduces a new 12-page tutorial on the rigging as well.
Oh, cool.
And that $15 for the ebook is in Australian dollars. So for our people over in the US, a 197-page ebook is probably going to cost you about $10 US.
Yeah.
So that can be found.
Value for money.
Just go to www.klp.com.au and just have a search for amongst all the fantastic guides and books that KLP Publishing do there.
Definitely.
I can't believe that price.
That is amazing, isn't it?
It helps.
It's like you'd be hard pressed to find a magazine that costs that much these days.
No, that's right. Yeah.
You could afford to buy that and then just pass it on to somebody else without caring. You know.
Definitely.
Absolutely. All right. I think we're fast closing in on having a look at what's new in the modelling world. So we might take a quick break and we'll come back and see what the Falcon has got to say.
Oh, is that what I can hear in the distance?
And to see... and to see if I can actually trip the Falcon up, which I think I can.
Oh, okay.
All right. Back very shortly. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products,
tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeler, go to www.finescale.com. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back and we're going to be hearing from... Yes, that's right. The Falcon has written in with his latest news of what's new in the modelling world. And he starts off, hi, Dave, Ian and Julian, aircraft news first up. A team of professional lidars... LiDARs?
LiDAR.
Yeah, the dude to...
LiDAR scanning.
Yeah. Apparently they were photographed scanning the Solent Sky Museum's Supermarine Scimitar, which is a sword. Does this mean we will see a kit of this aircraft in the next couple of weeks? Maybe not.
Couple of years.
There are other reasons to LiDAR scan an aircraft other than developing plastic models. Computer games commonly scan vehicles. Alternatively, the data can be used to help with restoration and repairs. The only thing known for certain is that it wasn't the boys from Airfix. Not sure who else would likely kit a...
Scimitar.
There you go.
I thought it was called Scimitar.
I thought it was Scimitar as well.
Oh, could be. I just called it a Scimitar. SC.
Rodin will be releasing a second version of their 1/32nd scale SPAD
13.
The new release will be a SPAD 13 C1 late model. This might be a bit more popular than the earlier one, as it will have markings for the US Air Service aircraft. Despite the disappointing sales of the first SPAD, Rodin are persisting with a 1/32nd scale World War I aircraft. The already announced Sopwith 1 and Half Strutter will be released in mid-2022, with an Avro 504 probably being released at the end of 2022.
Oh, cool, a 504. Excellent.
It's a very popular aircraft and it persisted well after World War One, so it's interesting.
That was the first aircraft the Royal Australian Air Force owned, I think.
Yeah, it's
it was the
interesting.
504K.
Taken so long for anybody to sort of build one of them.
Yeah.
There are high hopes that the quality of the Strutter and the 504 will be more in line with Rodin's current standards. I beg your pardon. Word has it that the SPAD 13 began development many years ago, was abandoned and then revived when Rodin decided to get back into the World War I business with the demise of Wingnut Wings. The prayers of many British modeller have been answered. They will finally get a new tool, Fairy Battle, and in the UK scale of 1/72nd. That's the good news. The bad news, it's coming from Azure From.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they? Are they some sort of...
Azure.
Azure... What
I believe Azure.
Isn't they Eastern European company?
Yeah, I think they utilize special hobbies manufacturing.
Right.
All jokes aside, the CAD renders actually look pretty decent, and it will no doubt be a vast improvement on the old Airfix approximation. There will be 3 boxings. First, we'll have markings and alternate parts for Belgium, Greek, and AASF machines. The next 2 boxings will have decals for aircraft from the Duke nations, which is the Dominion's UK Empire. And given the options, maybe even include parts for target tugs.
And I know another extra thing. One of them will have markings for RFF.
Oh, very good. Tentative release date for the first kit is March-April 2022. Dora Wings were showing a special edition of boxing of their 1/48 scale Curtiss Wright CW-21B fighter. It was a special edition Dutch version for the Euroscale Modelling Expo, but unfortunately the expo was cancelled. I'm sure the kit will be available to everyone soon, but it might be in a nicer box with proper box art.
I'll definitely be looking at getting one of those.
Meng have announced a 148 scale EA18G Growler, which should be available this month. Well, that's going to be interesting.
The boys will enjoy that one.
Oh, they certainly will. I know the boys from Model Geeks will be interested in that one as well. ICM's 48 scale British Beaufort was supposed to be ready for December 2021, but the release date has been delayed till the 10th of February 2022.
No, so might be updating it a bit.
Might be.
Well, they got a lot of things in their pipe.
Yeah, true.
Mentioned last time was that IBG models would be releasing a family of FW190D kits in 72nd scale. A modeler asked on their Facebook page if they would also do the related TA152, and an IBG spokesman replied, "Of course we will do it." Much excitement for the TA152 fans.
Yeah, so that good chance they'll bring out a 152C, the short wingspan version.
However, a Polish modeler cooled things down a bit by pointing out that, of course we will do it. It was rather optimistic machine translation of what was actually said, which was, we might possibly do it. So it's not quite the same thing.
Machine translating. That's so bad.
Yeah.
But it's better than nothing.
Exactly right. Back to some Roden news. They have announced two 144th scale kits, a Heinkel Zilwing and a Boeing, RC135U Combat Cent. Both should be released soon. Staying with Dave Scale, good on you. Staying with Dave Scale, Micromere have announced a 144th scale. Oh, geez, I don't even know how to pronounce it. An M50 Bounder.
Miasichev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miasichev.
Yeah.
Only CAD renders at this point, which always look nice. Have to admit, it's very cool looking aeroplane.
Mm-hmm.
Hobby Boss is to re-release the TriStar's 135th Fusilier.
Weisler Storch. The FI 156 C-3 Tropical Storch. Yeah. Well, it's if you're going to build a plane in 135th, I mean, that's probably not too bad. It's got a long wingspan, but otherwise it's not that big.
Yeah. And they go well with the armour guys anyway.
Yeah.
Because those things were very good liaison, especially in the Western Desert.
Yeah.
135th scale.
Yeah.
So you could pose it with your armour stuff.
Well, you can do Rommel's.
Yeah, good.
You could do it posed next to Rommel's SDKFZ Grief.
Yeah, very good. Great Wall Hobbies 32nd scale Curtis Hawk 81-A2 is very close to release.
Oh, yeah.
Great Wall Hobby have shown pictures of the box contents, and it is interesting to see that they have provided gun barrels as 3D printed parts.
Ooh.
Special Hobby announced a new 148 scale Martin Baltimore twin-engine bomber back in 2017. There hasn't been any news since then, but apparently the kit is still on. Special Hobby have just shown pics of the moulds for the transparent parts. Release maybe in 2022. Just need to take a quick drink of my orange juice. Last time I mentioned that Edward had completed scanning a Hawker Hurricane for their forthcoming 48 scale kit. There was some speculation on when the kit might be available. Word from Edward is that it won't be released for at least 2 years.
They have a lot on their plate, I'd say.
Yeah.
They're constantly busy, always sort of bringing new stuff out.
Yeah.
It's very...
And their new Zero just looks amazing. I've seen some build-ups of that online. And
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to when it gets released here in Australia.
Do you reckon you'll build it like almost ASAP?
No.
What do you mean no?
No. It'll go in the stash.
Oh no, you got on their P51s pretty straight away.
Well, I've got 11 Edward P51s. I've built one.
Yeah, but still, when you bought the first one, you built it pretty quickly.
I did, yes. Got hooked into it. Well, I've done the same with me the Copper State models.
True.
Hooked into that straight away.
But you know what? I'm finding like a lot of the like just being in the podcast scene and like interacting with all the other podcasts and with the various builds and things that eats up time as well. You know.
Yeah, definitely does.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Military vehicles. Hobby Boss have announced 3 new 135th scale kits: a Jag Tiger, which is a Porsche production, a US M98 4A2 Hemmet Wrecker, and a German L4500 MIT 5cm flak.
Oh, yeah, truck with a flak
4.1
gun.
or 441, flak 41. U-Star, never heard of U-Star. Who are they?
They make cheapo tools
Yeah,
usually.
they make tools, yeah.
All right, so U-Star have announced a 148 scale Tiger 1 early production, cursed with full interior. The kit appears to have clear parts for the hull and the turret roofs. I guess if you include all that detail, you want to some way to actually see it.
Yes.
I Love Kit. Again, another one I don't recognise off the top.
That's a new one to me.
I Love Kit have announced a 35th scale Grant medium tank M3 A5 diesel. The kit, this kit is a bit different. This kit is a different take on the M3, as it has one-piece upper shell on which you glue the outer panels. Most M3 kits until now have the upper hull constructed from separate parts, which some modelers have found difficult to align correctly.
There's lots of weird angles.
Well, apparently this kit might solve that problem. 3 marking options are included. 1 tank used as a command vehicle by Monty. Rifle models have announced a 135th scale Sherman tank, an M4A3E8 early flat-foot floggy.
Flugy.
Floggy.
Yeah, listening to Dave trying to like pronounce all these, code names, acronyms, various. It's really like a tongue twister for him.
Just for the listeners out there,
I'm watching you struggle with this for the last 10 minutes.
I used to read all this stuff off my computer screen. I now have a very large, 55-inch monitor now in the room, and these 2 clowns sitting to the right of me just sit there and watch me read. Hardly ever put their hand up or do anything else. They just leave me to flounder along.
No, like if it really looks like you're struggling, right? I'll jump in.
Yeah.
But the thing, there's things in there that you probably shouldn't. Like before when you said, like there's the US M984 A2 Hemmet Wrecker, right? But you, for some reason, instead of saying M98 4 A2 Hemmet Wrecker, you sort of got caught up on the because you it's like you saw the 98 out of the 984, and then you pronounce it as 98, and then you had nowhere to go except it had a 4 on the end in awkward fashion.
Everybody out there knows what I mean.
Yes.
It's getting the spirit of the wording across.
Yes. So anyway, we're getting back to the Ryefield one.
So your flat-foot flugy.
Yes.
The kit is provided with T66 tracks, which are more common in World War II vehicles. Details are scarce at this point, so it isn't known if the kit will come with a floy.
What is a floy?
It really is a tongue twister for you, Dave. It's
I
even
swear to
throwing
God.
like words that you would that don't even seem like they should be in there.
The Falcon is doing this on purpose. He is. I swear to God, I'm going to kill him when I next see him again. Oh, gee,
What is a floy?
I don't know. Well, let's try and see if we can find out. Okay, quick look at Wikipedia. Flatfoot flugy with a floy. It's a 1938 jazz song written by Sam Gillard and a couple other people. It must be. I don't know.
Yeah, no, don't go into it. If you want to look it up yourself, you can. Right, but that's going down the rabbit hole.
1940s jazz. Yeah.
Decals for this particular kit are scarce at this point, so it isn't known if the kit will come with a floy. Should be available the first quarter in 2022. And finishing off, the Falcon says, sadly no naval news at this time. Falcon out. Well, just to trip the Falcon up.
Yep.
And to pay back, there is in fact some naval news. Showman model have shown some pictures of their new model kit of their first ever 1/350 scale plastic kit, which is going to be DG-1000, the Zumwalt class destroyer, which I'm absolutely hanging out to go and purchase and buy and build.
Too modern for me.
No, come on. This beautiful, gorgeous looking ship. It's got a tumble home.
It doesn't hold a candle to the gracious lines of something like a Claymore class.
Actually, it does. To my eye, it does.
It's just a weird box with a rhomboid box to me. It's got no hanging over bits, no rail. It's just plain.
The Zumwalt class, of which the US Navy have only produced 3 due to cost escalations, unfortunately. It shouldn't be called a destroyer. I think it should be called a cruiser, if not a pocket battleship. Just the size of the darn thing. And it's got a classic, beautiful hull with a tumble home bow, I think you call it, or a layback bow. Mm-hmm. Very wave piercing, and this looks absolutely awesome. So there you go.
One for Dave.
That's one for Dave, and that's from Snowman Model. Snowman Models. So.
Very good.
You guys got any news of new kits or anything?
No.
Oh, I purchased something new.
Yep.
I got myself a Apple Watch, and you know what it's good for in modelling?
What?
Absolutely nothing.
Fair enough.
Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Right. Yeah. You can now be but a wrist away from squinting at reference images that are too small to be useful.
Yes.
You're not wrong there. Actually, you're right. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I thought it was quite funny.
Bizarre, mate.
All right. Let's get on to our topic for the show. We're talking about benches, believe it or not. And the reason why we're talking about benches is because Ian has decided to chuck everything out of his modelling room and start from scratch.
Yes. I think one of the main...
Furniture-wise, at least.
Furniture-wise, yes.
Yeah. Yes. I haven't done any building for well over a month, and partly the reason is it's very difficult to get to the bench because of the clutter. The modelling bench I've outgrown. Basically, just using an old computer desk, which ends up having maybe, if I'm lucky, I've got a square foot of working space. And I was just getting annoyed every time I sat on the desk. Nothing worked anymore. And
well, also your computer desk isn't much better.
Yeah, my computer desk wasn't much better, and my computer was on the other side of the room. And so if I wanted to do reference while I'm building and look at pictures, I'd have to get out of my chair and move across and do it that way. And it was doing my head in like you wouldn't believe. And it just got to the point where I just made the decision last week that's it. Time to bite the bullet, and went online, ordered myself a new desk, which is it's a corner desk, or corner workstation they call it. It's 2.1 metres either side, with a little centre section for the computer. And the really satisfying part, I'll get to that later, but what I didn't realise was how much stuff I've accumulated. Like, it took a good 4 hours just to clean the stuff off me model bench, me computer bench, and me spray painting cupboard. And it was just, I've just put it all, and I've just basically spread it through my unit. I walk in the unit now, and there's just stuff all over the shop. It's just insane. But the really satisfying part was actually destroying all three, the 2 desks and my spray painting cupboard. It was just therapeutic. So they're now gone. The timber's been scrapped. That's on a bonfire pile at my boss's place. All the sheet, all the metal works, all the metal framing, that's all gone to our scrap metal merchant. That's gone. So they'll never ever see the light of day again. They're gone for good.
It's too bad you didn't take some before photos. So that
I know. Yeah. I didn't think. I just got into the zone and just went for it. Unfortunately, it was 30-degree day, so it was.
You were sweating.
I was sweating by the end of it. So the new desk came in, and I was looking before I put it together. I thought to myself, well, me carpet protectors, those big square clear plastic mats you can get for your carpet protectors you put under your desk chair.
Yep.
they were all cracked and broken and stained with paint and that. I was like,
They do. They just break all the time.
and it was like, so I got online to look at them, and look, $160 a piece. And I thought, geez, that's a lot of money. That's $400 odd just for a bit of floor protection. It doesn't cover the whole area. So I went down to the local Bunnings, which is Australia's equivalent to a hardware specialist sort of thing. They got
Home Depot kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And so I bought myself a roll of 5mm rubber matting, which is 1200mm deep and 6 metres long. So I've laid that out over the carpets, which really works. The only thing is it's black, so it really darkens the floor up. And I've got like maybe a metre square of blue carpet left as you walk in the door. The rest is just all black matting. Built me benches, built me desks up, which didn't take as long as I thought because I smartly enough pinched an impact driver from work for the night and slammed it all together. And with the spray painting, I being in the air conditioning business, I got hold of the company that does all our duct work and gave them some specifications. So I now have a custom built sheet metal spray booth, which is 1 metre long, 500 deep and 600 high, which I still got to outfit with a filter and got me fan and some lighting. And yeah, so it's now a matter of building up a whole new workstation. I now have a computer that's basically next to me. So either if I'm building, I can just look to the right and there's the computer screen, or if I'm airbrushing, look to the left, there's the computer screen. So it's all coming now to, I suppose, just ergonomics.
Yes.
And just making a workbench where I'm finally going to feel comfortable sitting on. Because it's, for too long, I've just been holding off, and it just got to the point where it's like, nah, that's it, bite the bullet, start again.
So what was your planning? I mean, you what went through your mind as to how you're going to sort of build the perfect sort of desk to suit your needs?
Well, basically, because I'm constricted being in a small 2-bedroom unit, I've got to, if it was up to me, if I had my own place, I'd have a much bigger setup.
Yeah.
But I've gone to what works for that size room. Because basically the desk takes up nearly 2 walls, which doesn't leave much room on either side of the wall. So you've only got an extra wall and cupboard space and a door. So it's just a matter of making a setup that everything is where I need it, when I need it, rather than having to get up out of my chair and go for a wander, root around some cupboards to try and find a certain paint or a certain tool I may need.
I'd never get anything done if it was in your old setup.
Yeah, it is. It just didn't work anymore. It's
like, honestly, if this thing's out of arm's reach, I'll just give up and just go do something else.
Yeah. So now I want to have it that everything's. I still got to get a hutch for the section, which I'll probably order on Monday. Because good thing the company I went through is a company here in Victoria called Danny's Desks and Chairs, and honestly, can't recommend them high enough. Their prices are amazing. They do free Melbourne metropolitan, or depending what state you're in, they do metropolitan, free metropolitan freight. And I ordered the desk on Monday. It was at my work by Wednesday. Wednesday night, took it home. Because by that Wednesday night, also the sheet metal manufacturers had finished my spray booth, so I left my car at work, grabbed the big 4-wheel drive work ute, loaded everything in the back, went home, put it all together, put it on there, and now, well, like I said, I'm going to get a hutch made buy a hutch, 1,200 long hutch. I think it's just over 1 metre high. It's got 2 sets of shelves with a split in the middle, and then I want to get a special hutch, which I've got to either buy one and cut it to specification, or see if I can buy the components separate. But I want to make a separate hutch to go over the top of my spray booth to put all my paints and thinners and everything in there. And then I've got to figure out with lighting, get some good lighting set up for my work area, and boom, then I'll be able to just go bang, everything's there. I can start working again.
I'm at a very similar point to you where I'm frustrated by my layout, and admittedly, when I first moved into the house, going for 3 years now, it was just, I pinched a desk from your old work, remember? It was one of those great big
solid, and it was not like one of those chipboard covered with veneer. No, this is
something like from the 1950s,
solid timber desk.
But the frustrating thing is we've got my spray booth set up. It doesn't facilitate it to be piped out. So at the moment, my spray booth doesn't pipe out anywhere. It just sits in the room, and I just rely purely on the
filters to catch the.
Yes,
catch
exactly
everything.
right.
Yeah.
So there was that side of it, and because the desk that I got from you was so deep, I went for this thing where you buy all these little things for all your paints to sit in, and so
the
around
paint racks.
So I've got all the paints that are sitting on my desk, and I realise it's becoming more and more cluttered, and having the paints on the desk isn't.
Yeah, I'm in the same. Yeah, I'm in the same. That's why I want to get a hutch to put everything. I want to have as much space on my desk because the desk is 600 mil deep.
Yep.
I've actually pulled it away from the wall about nearly 100 mil. So when I put my hutch on, I can rest the hutch up against the back wall, and it's still not going to tip over. It's going to sit there nicely, and then I can put everything on there. So I want to have a 600 mil deep working area.
Yep.
Same as with me like my spray booth takes up nearly one side of the desk. Because I do ship, I like doing ship models as well. And some of the ship models are quite large. That's why I went for a 1 metre long spray booth.
Yep.
Which is, when you see it, it's actually quite large.
Yeah.
Large enough that when I was transporting it into the room, I've accidentally knocked the door handle off the door. Just snapped it straight off the doors, which was a bit annoying. But
some of the ergonomic things you need to consider when you're actually got a desk is like the height. So the standard is 900 mils height from the floor. For our US listeners, that's about 35 inches, give or take.
Yep.
Height. So that gives you plenty of room to sort of, well, it's at the right height for when you put a chair there, and you're not sort of,
Well, mine's about 740.
740 mil
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
Your desk.
Yeah.
But 900's a standard. So how's it come at 740?
No, it's 740.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not too short. I've got plenty of leg room.
You sure, man?
Yeah.
So generally, when you're modeling, it's actually really nice to have either you seat yourself very low, or you have like a high.
Yeah, and what I do when I'm modelling, I always put the seat at a low position, so it's a lot more comfortable having, as Julian and Dave say, it's a lot more comfortable having it up higher.
Yeah,
so
it's closer to your eyes,
and you're not hunched over. There's nothing worse than spending 4 or 5 hours on the bench and then standing up and going, "Oh, my back."
Yeah,
because you've cramped yourself up by leaning forwards all day.
That's right. I mean, like you look at like say jewelers that will use a microscope, and like the microscope is positioned so that their head is just facing forward.
Yes,
right, sitting upright, and they use all the mirrors and stuff inside the device to look down on what they're working on. Yeah,
totally agree.
So that's I mean, obviously it's a job for them, and they got the formula right, but people will make do with terrible conditions when it's their hobby for some reason.
And that's what I've been doing. I've just been putting up with just horrible, just old cheapo Band-Aid solutions and
exactly.
And I'm surprised I can get the quality of work out what I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I still have no idea how you painted the Shikaku.
That was a lot of fun.
You can't even fit, like, even if you cut the Shikaku in half,
it wouldn't have fitted in the spray booth.
It still can't fit on your bench or in the spray booth.
Oh, it was an absolute hassle, especially like when you're working on it. You had to like turn it around. You'd have to like step back from the bench, turn around in the middle of the room, then walk back and put it down again.
Yeah, it's if you can imagine, it's kind of like taking your keyboard and then inserting a portion of it at a time into a shoebox and trying to like paint it in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Didn't work, no.
But you got it done somehow.
Yeah. Perseverance, stubbornness.
Comfortable chair is paramount when sitting at your modelling desk.
I've got a good chair.
You've got the weird saddle thing.
I've got the saddle thing. Doesn't have a back.
Yep.
Which makes you automatically sit up straight. It's designed to make you sit straight. And you look at it and you think, oh, it's just like a saddle. But it works. It is a really good chair for modelling. Which was a gift from me boss. I had a spare Spitfire in my collection, so I built it up, and my boss likes big engine vehicles. He's a bit of a muscle car fan, and he knows about the Spitfire, so I out of the blue, I built the Spitfire and I said, there you go, you have this. Because the Edward kits came in, so I bought the Edward kit, so I just gave him my old Spitfire that I just built. And next week, there's a package comes in at work for me, and he goes, oh, that's for you. And I'll check it out. Oh, new modelling desk, new modelling chair. Oh, awesome, thank you. So, but yeah, as you said, yeah, a good chair. You need a good chair. Something that's comfortable and it's not going to give you lower back pains.
Mm-hmm.
I have been toying with the idea of seeing I'm going to sort of redo the modelling room with new desks, to have one of the desks as height adjustable, so I can have it as a stand-up desk.
All right, so I've got a few opinions on this.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear, because I'm still not necessarily sold that I'm going to do it.
So when it comes to those standing desks, they have to be really heavy and really robust. Because no matter how robust and heavy you think it is, when you actually jack it all the way up to be used as a standing desk, they get all wobbly.
Yeah.
Right? They need to be really rigid.
Well, the ones I'm seeing, that probably explains the price, because
they are not cheap.
No.
They are not cheap.
Especially the electric ones where you press the button and it goes zzz.
Yeah. Have you considered maybe getting one of those very desks attachments?
No, they're stupid, because they're mainly designed for keyboards and
computers.
laptops and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep,
So that's a dumb idea.
No, fair enough.
So I think
it's a dumb idea. Jeez, Dave, settle.
I'm just saying. Hey, can I just briefly interrupt?
Sure.
Because-
Interrupt yourself. Go on.
Because I found what flat foot flugie with the floor is actually about.
Yeah,
Right.
go on. And what is it?
What are you saying don't for? Do you know, do you?
Well, I saw it flash up on the screen very briefly. I was like, yeah, that's maybe, yeah.
So it's a jazz song that became a nationwide hit in the US when it was released in 1938. The lyrics at first seemed to hold a string of mostly meaningless phrases, often mistaken for scat singing. But in fact, the song has actually a somewhat salacious meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So, flugie is another word for floozy. And the reason why they took the word floozy out of the song was because the record companies didn't think that if you had a song with the word floozy in it, it wouldn't sell or be allowed to be sold. So they changed it to floozy.
So we're talking about a Lady of the Night?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
A flat foot would mean that she's been out all night.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, and floor fly is apparently slang meaning referring to a sexually transmitted disease. So there you go.
Oh, well, there you go.
I've never heard that before, floor fly.
No.
It's amazing what you learn being a modeller.
Yes.
And this is all comes back to the tank we were talking about. And, obviously it must have been the name of the tank on the side.
Yeah.
And they must have, how tankers sort of name their tanks.
Well, same as aircraft guys.
Yes. So
I've seen a lot of nose art that was quite risque for its time.
Exactly right, yeah. But how are you going to tell a bunch of, 18, 19, 20-year-olds you can't write this on the aircraft when they've, got a life of perhaps only, 10 missions or something like that? Of course you're going to let them do it.
Yeah, not all of them. A lot of times people had squadrons had nose art and they got a new commanding officer and all. Next thing you know, all the nose art got scrapped.
Yeah. That's when the commanding officer found a grenade with his pin still in, sitting on his bed when he got back from a mission. Anyway, let's get back to the desk. I thought I'd just interrupt with that because I was fascinated by that. So there you go.
You learnt something new, Dave.
You do. You learn something every day.
So you also got yourself a new spray booth, didn't you?
Yes, I bought a new spray booth because the old one is sort of battered and busted, and the new one's slightly larger, or is larger.
Mm-hmm. But they're not cheap, are they?
Oh, $200.
Actually, it's quite cheap.
Well, 210.
And how big is it?
Oh, it's big.
What, couple of feet? 2 foot?
Yeah, something like that.
2 foot square?
Yeah, it's not as big as your monstrosity that you're building.
Well, you know what mine cost me?
Yeah, here we go.
$150.
Yeah, okay. $150.
Yep, for the metalwork. Yep. The only other money I've got to spend on it is get some strip lighting, to put some light in there. Just get a strip light of LEDs.
Okay.
I've got a free fan because I work for an air conditioning company.
Yeah.
I've got a free fan. I've got free ducting.
Yep.
And all I had to pay was $150 cash for the metalwork. And they've done a great job with the metalwork too. It's all sealed.
It looks good. Looks really good.
It's got a 30 millimeter turn up at the front. So just in case when have a paint spill, it's not going to pour out onto the carpet. It's going to stay inside the spray booth.
Yep.
The filter, well, we got upstairs at work, we've got hundreds of filters
Yeah.
that basically were ordered and then customers have changed their minds. So rather than throw them out, they've kept them in case of another job. So I get a free filter and cut it to size to slot inside.
Mm.
And so, so I reckon under $200, I'll have myself a really nice big spray booth.
Cool.
Which is a bargain. That much so that one of the office ladies at work, her husband does a lot of 3D printing for and modelling for miniatures and so forth.
Oh, really?
And she saw the design
Yep.
on my desk and
Yep.
says, "Oh, can I take a copy of it?" Now her husband wants the manufacturers to build him one too.
Wow. There you go. Maybe it should be a little sideline for you recommend your boss do spray painting booths.
Yeah, painting booths. Yeah, maybe do it myself.
Or maybe do it yourself. That's another way of doing it. Yeah.
Mm.
Lighting is another important thing for your desk. Have
Definitely.
you considered how you're going to do your lighting? Ian?
Well, Julie and I are going to discuss that after the show.
Right. What are your thoughts?
Well, Julian showed me this great light system he has, which is like daylight LED system. And I'm not going to commit to buying it until I have my hutch in place, because then I can do some proper measuring. And then because with the hutch I'm looking at, it's got like a little step down for the center support, which hangs down a little bit. So I'll have to probably have 2 lots of lighting, one on either side.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely want to have daylight LEDs. I'm no longer going to rely on opening the window, because basically that window is now going to be completely obscured by hutches. But as long as I have good lighting on my desk, that's the main thing. And also having the rubber floor mats now, the floor's black. And
As long as you're building like the ideal grey plastic.
well,
you
normal grey plastic, yeah, I should be able to find parts that fall on the floor.
should.
Should.
Carpet monster is an elusive
Well,
beast.
the Carpet monster is way back behind on the other side of the bench. That's at the door.
I cannot recommend enough with lighting. You get as close to natural lighting as possible, and you can buy special globes, like
Daylight globes. Yeah. Same as LEDs.
which I've got.
Yeah.
And
You just got to look for the appropriate like color temperature. I think like don't quote me on this because I looked it up at the time, and then once I've got my lighting solution solved, I sort of took all that information just threw it in the bin.
Yeah.
But I think from memory, it's something like around 5600 K is the color temperature for roughly daylight, give or take, middle of the day, like
What I also found to be absolutely indispensable is to have a light that comes over my shoulder. So I've got, what do you call these things?
microphone arm.
Microphone arm. I've got lights that are sort of mounted like that.
Oh, they don't get in the way for me.
No, and on my current setup, I've got it sort of mounted off to the side so I can swing it over my shoulder, and so it shines light onto the subject where my eye's actually looking, not coming down from the top.
Right.
And I just find it particularly helpful when I'm working on the really small stuff.
That's a good idea. I'll look into that.
So just a thought.
Because look, at the moment now, my budget for the desk doesn't exist. I've got a few dollars squirreled away, so I can just spend for a while.
Well,
I don't mind spending two to 3,000 on my setup, because this is my hobby. This is what I do.
And you've got to be comfortable. It's like buying a proper bed. You spend a third of your life in bed sleeping, so you might as well get a decent bed.
Yes,
Why
I
do
very
people
much subscribe to that.
And it's the same with your desk or your bench. You've got to spend the money
Where you spend your time.
where you spend your time.
Well, I know.
Or not spend the money, but also spend the effort to getting it set up correctly.
Yeah. Don't take. That's what the problem. I've been taking half measures. Been going, this will have
Not even half measures, man.
quarter measures.
Yeah.
Quarter measures. It's just like, this is there. This is all I've got. This is what I'm just going to have to bear with. And it's like, and now I've gotten to that age with, I can't be, excuse my French, but I just can't be asked.
Yeah.
I really can't be. I'm at that age now where, you know what? Go and get stuffed.
Yep.
I'm going to go and do something for me. I'm not going to do, this works. Yeah, this is barely works. I'll just bear with it. No. Those days are done. I'm over it. And I'm presuming that, I'm hoping that once I'm all full set up, I'm going to get back to the days of just knocking kits out.
I hear you, brother.
Knocking them out.
Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition, because I'm exactly like you.
Like I've got this Canadian machine gun carrier, which I've basically finished the kit, and I want to do the base now and get that set up. That's another thing I'm working on is getting since I've only got 2 bedrooms and I don't have a garage or anything, I've just got a little patio section out the back. I'm going to get an outdoor timber bench made. So I can put all my woodworking tools on that, so I can bring them inside when it's raining or at night time or when I'm not home, so they don't go walkabout. It's a problem when you don't leave tools outside because they go missing. And yeah, I'm just going to start finally just stop being such a tightwad.
Well,
and just do it properly. Do it properly. Get it set up properly. Like I've seen some of the setups online, and some of the stuff I look at is like, don't know why you went that direction.
Yeah.
But some of the other ideas you see, it's like, oh, what a great setup. This person has thought it through.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
And that's what I'm doing at the moment. And
But
with my
sometimes-
setup is, I'm not 100% sure of how it's going to finish up, but I'm going through the stages, and like I've got the main bench set up now. Now the next step is storage. Thus I'm getting the hutch, and the hutch is built.
and I'm going to try and convince you to get some big shelves.
Yeah, well, that's probably we've got to measure that out later today and measure out, because I've got a little slight section on the side of my desk where I might be able to set up a set of shelves, so I can at least get some more kits off the floor.
IKEA, man. Go to IKEA for all that sort of stuff. But sometimes it takes you sitting in an uncomfortable position for a while to actually figure out what you need to improve.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, I need to get a word in here. So, Jesus, guys, you guys, you waffle. I know you're in your headspace, and like also like while you're verbalizing, you're thinking about the space and what you're going to do with it. I didn't want to interrupt that.
That's all right.
But what's important is that what I wanted to say is that people early. Well, not even so much early on, but a lot of people fall into this mindset where they're like, oh, do I really want to spend money on, a spray booth, a desk, or, like big functional...
I could spend that money on kits.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly it. I can spend that money on kits. Why would I spend $100 on, like, for example, an airbrush? They're like, why would I spend $500 on an airbrush when I can spend $500 on to buy, like, 10 kits? And it's like, well, chances are you've already got more kits than you'll ever build in your lifetime.
Yeah.
So you should spend that. Like, logically speaking, that's money going to waste.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely going to waste. So you may as well spend that money to improve the quality of your setup so you can churn out more kits.
And the good thing was that also, I think, with having the new setup and a more ergonomic setup is probably my quality of work might even improve.
Yes.
Which is what I'm hoping. I'm not saying it will,
well, I mean,
but I'm hoping.
Maybe you'll only get 10% more quality out of it, but you'll get
a lot more enjoyment.
Exactly, and a lot more enjoyment, and it'll be a more comfortable.
Like I know of people that
hobby time.
I know of one guy who spent years building models off one of those little lap the stable tables.
Yeah,
those little lap things with a cushion that you used to have your dinner on when you were sitting in front of the TV.
Yeah,
that's how he did model building. Like other poor people who model on the kitchen table. At how they do that, I don't know. Imagine like having to, I'm going to do some modelling. So you spend an hour getting everything out onto the kitchen table, spending a couple of hours on the table, and then having to unpack everything and put it away again.
Yep.
It'd drive me absolutely nuts.
Yep.
But people do it. I know of a few people that do it. And a lot of those people actually churn out half-decent kits, and it surprises the heck out of me how they do it.
Whereas, so you then ask yourself, how much more efficient would they be if they were in a room that was welcoming to them as they stepped through the door, and it just sort of screamed and sit down and build models.
Yeah, like I know one of our loyal listeners, he does on a slight tangent to what we're talking about is he does all his kits brush painted. And I've been for a couple of years now saying, just get an airbrush, buy a cheap airbrush. And you won't know yourself. And it's the same with, as you said, it's the same with the benches.
Yeah.
You won't know yourself. And that's what I'm hoping to rejuvenate myself and not have modelling as becoming a chore. Because it felt like at times it was becoming a chore. And it's killing the vibe. And I don't want to kill the vibe. It's something I'm passionate about.
And for me, I've been listening to, the past couple of years now, people who have a clear desk policy. And so they've actually only got one model on the desk, and when they're not building, they clear everything right off.
Yep.
And the people who find that most useful are the guys who build for magazines or who do have to do, what's it called?
Commission builds.
Commission builds and reviews of models. They find that's the only way they can achieve. Now, Chris Meddings I'm sure it was Chris talking about this. Either Chris or somebody the Sprue Cutter Union guys interviewed back in the very early days of their podcast. And the guy was saying, and the only way he's able to churn that many out is to have a clear desk.
Yeah.
And I said, because I've got my paints up there, and just going in now, it just looks messy and it's just uninviting, and
and as you know,
all the paints are getting dust on them and everything. And
then, have you ever gone to? It gets to a point where you just go, that's it. I'm just going to clean the desk up, and you clean everything off it, and then you brush like a whole pile of dust off it.
Yeah,
that's accumulated amongst all your jars and things.
I know, and you go, God damn! No wonder I'm getting such crap finishes on my models.
Yeah, and then that first kit you build after you clean, you've got it clean. It just goes in a flash.
Yeah.
Right? And then and then the clutter builds up over a while, and your build rate just slowly declines.
And your build area declines on your bench.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You start off and you're like, with my desk, I started off with like 2 square foot of working space, if I was lucky. And within an hour and a half, I'm down to 1 foot. And then a couple of hours later, I'm down to half a foot.
Yep.
And at the end, I'm working in this little shoebox area. And there's just stuff spread all over the place.
Or the worst part is when you get into the habit of, like, you've got so much stuff on the desk that you're basically, like, scraping and cleaning up parts on your lap.
Yep. I've had that.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So you got a modelling desk and you're doing the work on your lap. I know.
Like, one thing I want to do is with me acrylic paints is I want to have like a section on the wall where I can actually have my acrylic paints slotted in on like a 30-degree angle.
Right.
So, and what I'm going to do,
like the paint rack at the hobby store.
but mounted on the backboard of the hutch. But what I want to do also is underneath each one, because you won't be able to see what
you want
colours
to label them?
I'll label. So all I have to do is look up and go, I'm doing a British Army figure, or I need British uniform brown. So just go, there it is. It says British uniform brown. It's got a little circle with the colour on it. Pop it out, do me paint, pop it back in. Rather than just, because what I used to do is, because the paints were somewhere else, I used to have to take them off, put all the paints I thought I'd need on the bench, and then do me work, and then
forget to put them away.
Exactly. and at the end, there's like stuff everywhere. But the one thing I did find by cleaning out my work areas is I'm a hoarder.
Really?
I'm embarrassingly a hoarder. I did not realise how much stuff I had on me benches and me spraying cupboard.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at this stuff because I'm not kidding when I say it is spread out throughout my 2 rooms in my unit. There's just stuff everywhere. And I'm just looking at stuff going, I've had that for 20 years and never used it. Why am I holding on to it? It's just taking up space. I know why I'm holding on to it, because I saw it once and I've gone, I could use that for a future project. Well, that project has never come along yet. Why am I keeping it? Jars. I've got about 30 or 40 glass jars. What am I holding these things for? They're going in recycling tonight.
How big are the jars?
Oh, only small, like, I don't know, probably about
30 mil?
30 mil or something.
Don't throw them all out.
This is how it works.
Have they got tops on them? Like, are they?
Nah, they're just like little plastic pop tops. So there's no point putting paint in them because they'll just dry in no time.
I must still want some. Don't throw them out.
Don't. They're going in the recycling. If you want them, you've got to come around tonight and grab them.
I do. I'm going out tonight. I've got a thing I've got to do.
Sucks to be you.
Jeez.
All right, I'll put a handful aside for you, Dave.
Talk about being a mate.
I'll put some aside for you.
Ian, you're coming around to my side where I've got no spare parts box.
That's another thing I did. I used to have, and I still got them, and I'm going to go through them. I've got boxes like they're like the tackle boxes or your screw boxes, and just full of parts that I thought, I'll snip these off the sprue because I might use them in a future project.
Yep.
I've never used them. What use have I got for plastic 1 to 350 scale ACAC guns where I know that every ship build I do, I always buy aftermarket?
Yeah.
Why am I keeping stuff like that? Why am I keeping plastic side skirts off old 1970s Tamiya tanks? Why am I keeping that stuff? Oh, I might use it for a future project. Yeah, right, idiot. No, I won't. So out it goes. So I'm going to be probably get a good garbage bag full of stuff that's just going.
See, everyone dismissed me when I said I'm not keeping the spares box, right? Because they were like, oh, you're a young guy, you haven't built enough kits, and
you're an immature modeler.
Yeah, mate. The right opportunity just hasn't come along because you haven't come across that project where you needed it. But you're at the other end. You've got like 20 years under your belt. 20 years
longer.
Like 20.
What am I, 50? I'm 53, and I started when I was 7. So
yeah, exactly. But how long have you been
something.
accumulating the spare parts in the spare parts box?
Probably 40 years.
40 years. So you got like 40 years worth of stuff there, and you haven't touched.
Actually,
any
no,
of it.
because I've only got about 10 years max at the moment. Because I used to have like big cardboard boxes full of old kits and everything, and I ended up giving a couple of boxes away to a guy I know. And I think he's probably still got them somewhere.
And he hasn't touched them either.
He probably hasn't touched them either, but they're out of my hair. And like nowadays, when I finish a kit and there's still like half a dozen bits or a dozen bits on the sprue, I don't care. That's going in the recycling.
Yeah. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like you can't use those bits. I mean, like Les, who we both know, he often builds jets and is often finds that they don't have the actual turbine blades inside the intake. And so he'll get a wheel or some other thing that sort of resembles that shape, and he'll put it in there.
Yeah.
Just so there's something to look at.
Yes.
And like, I can understand that. That's a good case for saying, okay, well, anything that looks like that, I'll keep. But everything else, just chuck it.
Yeah. There's no point keeping it. Why keep it?
No.
I'm even like keeping like bits off photo etch frets.
Yeah.
Like, why? What am I going to use that for again?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Unless I get deeply into like scratch building sci-fi or something, which I don't see myself doing in the future. Well, it's always styrene. Like last night at our club meeting, one of the members, Christian, he's doing I don't know why he's battling, but he's battling with the Italeri MiG-21. And he showed us the kit pot, the bang seat, which basically looks like a box. And he's scratch built one out of styrene. That looks
it's amazing.
absolutely amazing. It looks fantastic. It's like, well, I've done scratch building with styrene, and why? And I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So why keep these parts in the bin?
Yeah, I mean, like, you'd rather build... If you're going to do some scratch building, it's better to do it by design.
Yeah. Than
from raw materials than to
grab a bit and then have to modify it and...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally agree.
Like, you don't see people in real life, sort of going, well, I want to build this car, so I'll improvise these parts and that parts. And, if they can make it themselves, I'm assuming,
Exactly, yeah. Make it yourself is a lot more fun. You get a lot more fulfillment out of it.
And you don't have to deal with, something that's... trying to wrangle something that's close but not quite.
Yeah.
And then,
And I'm fussy enough that I want it to look pretty much as it should be.
Yeah. And then, like, the people who do do this sort of work, and modify parts to go onto their kits, they'll go and watch, read a book like, that scratch building book that you bought, that amazing one. And it's like, oh, people are making things out of brass and stuff, and it looks beautiful, right? And they're not modifying parts. They're building stuff out of stock styrene rod and sheet and
brass and
brass
aluminium.
And, it's better to go that way than to try and modify something.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. So, next up, shelves.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to try and persuade you to buy some big, huge
Well,
shelves.
they can't be too big, so we've got a limited amount of space.
Well, that's what I mean.
Right.
I'm all about efficiency of space. So I'm going to try and get you to buy the biggest set of shelves to sit and stick in that corner.
I know Monday I'm probably going to spend about another $700-800 on Monday. That's a given.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Because that's when I'll buy my hutch.
Right.
And probably the shelves, once we figure out what size shelves are going in that corner.
And then lighting.
That's after the hutch is installed.
Yep.
Right.
Because I've got to install the hutch and then I can figure out my lighting from there because I want to mount it on the bottom shelf sort of thing. And because the good thing is they're adjustable shelves because I don't want to have the shelves too low. I want to have the shelves, when you look at the shelves online of the product that I'm thinking of buying, there's a lot of space in between shelves.
Yep.
So I want to actually have I don't need a ton of space. I just want enough space that I can clear me bottles.
Yep.
Bottles of paints or me tools and that, which, as you know, you don't need a foot high shelf or a foot and a half high shelf. You only need half of that. So if I can raise that up higher and get enough height of the bottom shelf on me hutch, that I can install lighting in there as well, which is going to shine down. And as Dave said, maybe even look at getting the over-the-shoulder lighting.
Over-the-shoulder lighting, yeah.
See, I reckon the over-the-shoulder lighting isn't necessary if you got more diffused lighting.
No, I
right?
disagree.
When it's direct lighting, right, it casts hard shadows. But when you got diffused, it tends to sort of, flow in and out of all the nooks and crannies and things, and you don't need it as much.
Even diffused lighting, you don't get something over the shoulder, especially when you're spraying or when you're doing really fiddly work. It's just so invaluable. It really is. You got to try it. Once you try it, you'll never go back to not having an over the shoulder light.
Yep.
Think of it like the Predator with that little sort of gun he mounts on his shoulder.
See, I was gonna say that. I didn't think that would be quite correct, and then you said it.
Hey guys, we're gonna start thinking about wrapping this up.
Right.
So.
Yep.
How are we gonna win this?
How about this?
What I wanted to say
How about
was,
I do a sign out?
oh come on, you haven't got a sign out. No way.
He's in the zone.
Well, someone has to step up because you're
Okay.
not come on.
Yep.
In any case, so I would suggest to take our advice on board and reassess your workspace because guaranteed there's always something you can improve upon it.
Yes.
Be it the lighting or the ergonomics or the storage. We've all got a stash that needs storing, so do something about it.
Very good.
I fully agree with that.
Excellent. Ian.
Well, up and at 'em, I suppose, and let the adventure of new workbench keep going.
Fantastic. Great, it's great having you guys join us this episode. We'll be back perhaps next week, so we can just, as I said, get back onto our right schedule. In the meantime, if you want to get in contact with us, you can send us an email to onthebench64@gmail.com. Don't forget our Facebook page, and don't forget about all the other wonderful shows out there that you can listen to. And once again, a huge thank you to all the supporters of the show. Greatly appreciate it. We'll see you very soon. Thanks, guys.
Bye.